questions. And questions to a basic algebra that everybody knows and are good at, especially when they are in Form 4. So go back and take ownership of them. Learn to factorize. Learn to solve simultaneous equations in various ways. And learn to use well, things. Look at all the things that we test, linear equations, etc., quadratic equations. Go back over them, practice them, take ownership of them, and get into the exam with confidence. Then you have your item 3. Over a long period of years, you've been forced to give attention to set theory. You have to do set theory. You have to do set theory in the multiple choice paper, etc. Get in there and practice these things and be competent and be competent on them and know how to do them and get them right first time around. Then you know your basic geometry and measurement issues which are tested in questions 4 and 5 and relations, functions, and graphs, like drawing simple graphs, etc., simple quadratic curves, and sometimes equation of the straight line. Things of this nature are what questions 4, 5, and 6, and transformations, reflections. When you're describing a transformation, make sure that you're able to say all the things that are true about that transformation. And then you have statistics, which are customary for a question 7, learning to draw graphs from using raw data or continuing a table of values and drawing. If they ask you to draw cumulative frequency graph, don't give them a bar graph or give them concave curve when you should give them an S-shaped curve, so you know you have done something wrong. Check on those things. And then the question that everybody should be good at this point in time, this question is, which is a standard question. Learn how to look for sequences and patterns, etc., and how to follow on from what is given. How to follow on from what is given to what is required. Well, I don't need to say much about the optional items. You have to do 2 or 3 questions, and you need to prepare yourself properly. It seems to me that every year questions are set for question 10 related to the properties of circles. And since you've been forced to look at them over such a long period of time, by now you should be good at them and give good verbal reasons why you do what you do in terms of your calculation. Yeah, item 11. Item 11. Here you are again on vectors and matrices. Well, what do I need to say about this? If you have prepared yourself, at this point in time, you have just 30 days or thereabouts to get ready for this test. Make sure that you can do, say, the questions on the last 3 or 4 exam papers. If you can do them in your aloneness, it means that you're making yourself ready to significantly do well on questions of this nature. I've spoken for a long period of time. Now I need to take a breath and to answer your types of questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kane, for that introduction. And as you imagine, there are quite a few questions already in the chat. The first one I'm going to ask you is from one of our teachers, it seems. They said that SBA for math is coming in 2018. And do you have any, 2017 or 2018?
2018. So they have to start now.
Right. They're asking what form or structure would the SBA take? Do you have any information on what type of structure or form the SBAs would take?
Yeah. Students will be required to do some analysis, maybe some research, and using either primary data or secondary data, etc. Now, what could happen if you give my email to some of these teachers, I could send them some resource material.
All right. So it would be a research paper using mathematical information.
Very well, yes.
Right. A very generic question here is, how do you recommend that I study for mathematics? Mr. Kane, you have any recommendations for studying for math?
Well, I told you, I saw the lady driving, I thought I could drive. The only way to study is to practice. You have to go and practice on at least 3 exam papers and make sure that you can do all of the items. Ask for help, and then even when you have succeeded on a paper, you put it away, try it again, so that you know that within an exam situation, on the exam conditions, you won't freak out, that you will actually be able to put on paper what you have practiced before. It's all about practice and how often you do the same thing.
Another question we have here is, just a general question as well, is if you're going to work any problems for the students to see on the chat, on the whiteboard, I imagine, I would ask the students if they have a particular area. I think that might help them better. If they have a particular area, they can ask you to do a solution to a problem. Would you prefer that, or you just want to work a generic problem, Mr. King?
They have to tell me what their issues are. If they tell me what their issues are, then I could advise them appropriately.
All right, students and teachers, if you have a particular area that you would like, Mr. Kane, okay, they ask, can you do an algebra problem?
You see, algebra is such a wide area that they'll have to direct me as to...
Yeah, Kevin says, I struggle with algebra. Do you have any tips?
On algebra?
Yes.
All right, now the main issue, the main issue with algebra is directed numbers. That's the main issue. Learning to manipulate directed numbers. If you master, say, addition of 2 negative numbers, multiplying a negative by a negative or a negative by a positive, adding a negative and a positive. If you get over that, the fear of that, everything else becomes immediately obvious, because that's where the computational errors are made, that the students, sometimes students know where to go, they know how to help themselves, but when it comes to those directed numbers, that's when they start failing. So I'm not sure that I quite see where they want me to go with that. The textbooks are filled with them. They can go there and see them. If there's something specific, then I'll give attention there too.
Okay, another. Marcus, I'm not sure if you heard my last question. How do you recommend that?
I didn't hear it.
Recommend that they approach the multiple choice section of the paper?
Very good. Majority of the questions on the multiple choice are usually consumer arithmetic and some number theory and set theory, etc. Geometry, some algebra. Yeah, algebra carries a fair weight. They need to simply, when they're looking at the distractors, they need to sometimes work backwards. If they think an answer is correct, plug it back in and see if it works. But generally, the questions are very doable. There's nothing from what used to be in the past, the optional objectives, which are tested on paper 1 in multiple choice. any student who has completed the curriculum up to Form 4 should be able to answer all the items on paper 1. Okay, that's the level of difficulty. And it is not rocket science. So they need to run practice again on their consumer arithmetic, basic algebra, number theory, simple geometry, Pythagoras theorem, these types of things.
Okay, so there's a question about composite functions.
Composite functions are not tested on paper 1. They are tested on paper 2. And so students must prepare themselves, finding the inverse of functions, doing composite functions, things of this.
Do you have any tips for them for that? Any little trick that they can use to deal with composite functions?
When I always teach students this, I say, look, consider the division of labor. You see, in my boyhood days, there used to be a farine and cassava mill. So some people worked at grinding the cassava, and others took the output from the cassava mill and put them in the copper. And composite functions behave like that. The only trouble is that it is the function on the right-hand side which works first. That's the first machine that works. And whatever comes out of that first machine goes into the machine on its left, or the letter that came before it. And very much so, if they're given a real number as the input to the composite function, the fastest way is always you put that real number into the function on the right, get an output from it, put the result in on the function on the left. You work from right to left in doing these composite functions. However, if it is a general situation where we need to give a generalization on this composite function, then if I want to find the f of g of x, I look for the f machine, look for the f function, and anywhere I see x, I am putting g. I can do that as a first step. Having made that first step, I now make a second step. Wherever I have g, I put what the x values of g should be into those spaces where I had g. That's the fastest way to get the composite function. Yeah?
Yes, Marcus.
Could you take the other questions in a moment? I have an urgent situation. I'll just mute. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay, students and teachers who have joined us, thank you very much. As you heard from the facilitator himself, there's just a little urgency where he is, and he needs to take care of that. Those of you who are asking about the email, we will have to have Mr. Kane's permission to send you his email. You can send me an email at cxcezo@cxc.org. Just put attention mathematics webinar. That email address again, let me type it here for you. cxcezo@cxc.org. And as I said, put attention mathematics webinar. And once we have Mr. Kane's permission, we will send you his email address once you have sent us a request through that email. Yes?
Yes.
I'll take, oh, there you go. Thank you. So some persons were asking if there's video. There's no video. It's only audio right now. And so some persons are also asking about asking questions. You can ask questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand. If you look on the right side of the interface, you will see there's a black hand that you can click that to raise your hand, and then we can unmute your mic for you to ask Mr. Kane the question. We will tell you when you will be unmuted. Marcus, another question that just came through is about the formulas, the sections on the mathematics paper that require formulas. The question is, do they have to memorize these formulas, or will a formula table be provided?
A formula sheet is provided for both papers. And I am amazed that the formulas are there on page 2 of the examination booklet, and it appears that not many students use them because very often they quote the wrong formula, even though the correct one is on page 2 of the booklet. The correct formulae are on page 2 of paper 1, and they're on page 2 of paper 2. And they are the formulas that students need to use in the exam. Are you there? Now, it appears that the situation is new. I don't know.
I can hear you. I'm not sure why Cleveland is not responding.
Sorry,
Cleveland?
sorry, did I miss something, Pompey?
Yes. No, he's just finished answering a question, so the next question.
Oh, okay. Right. I heard him answer the one about the formula.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm just trying to understand another question here by Kyle St. Hill. I'm not quite understanding. All right. So, Marcus, can you see the chat? Kyle, I think, is trying to put in a question here for you to work out. Let me just try and make sure that I understand. How many video games will she be able to rent using option A, option B? Kyle, if you're there, can you raise your hand so you can speak to the question? We may understand it a little easier if you can speak the question rather than type it, because I'm missing some of what you have typed.
Okay, his hand is already raised, so I'll just unmute him at this point. Kyle,
Okay.
you're alive?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Indeed, go right ahead.
Great. So I had one of my students ask me about this question. They're preparing for the exam.
Yes,
And the question says, using information given below, option A, membership fee, $80, rental fee, $3 per video game, and option B, no membership fee, the rental fee is $5 per video game. The question continues and goes on to say, Carla estimates that she will be able to spend $215 for renting video games next year. How many video games will she be able to rent using option A, and how many video games will she be able to rent using option B?
Yeah. Well, option B is a clear division because it's $5 per video game, right? So that's a straightforward division. 215 divided by 5. That's the number of games that you'd be able to rent using option B. Whereas in option A, she must subtract the $80, which is the rental fee, from the 215, and then the remainder she divides by 3. That's how many video games she'd be able to rent using option A.
All right, Kyle, are you happy with that? All right, if we may move on. Marcus, someone says paper 1 still requires the absence of a calculator for the exam. Is a question. In other words, no calculators allowed. Is that so for paper 1 as well?
Yes, paper 1 does not allow you to take your calculator in. Indeed, the items on the paper do not need a calculator. If you were using a calculator, I say that you could finish that exam in 45 minutes rather than the 90 minutes that you're given for the exam. There's nothing on the exam paper that requires the use of a calculator.
Okay, Mr. Abrahams, I hope your question was answered. Let's see who else we have here. All right, also on the question, please Please state them not too formula. Okay. All right. So not all formulas are provided. Some you have to memorize. There are only a limited amount. Is that so, Mr. King?
Well, the list is comprehensive. And when all is said and done, I don't think that the exam is not a test of memory. That is why we gave the list of formulas. It's a test of application. So I think the list, if it is not exhaustible, it's near there.
Okay. If an error is made, sorry, Pompey, we have somebody wanting to ask a question?
Yeah, we have a couple folks whose hands are raised.
Okay, let's go to them then. Yes.
Okay, so Aldisha Castillo, your life. Good morning, Aldisha.
Good morning. Well, my question is, will there be 3D triangles based on bearings?
Could you say that again? You asked the question again?
Would there be 3D triangles based on bearings? Hi, Marcus, are you hearing me?
Anything that is on the syllabus is possible for the exam.
Okay. Fair enough. Right, it's a little too specific. If an error is made in the formula which is not given in the table formula, however, the correct values are substituted and the following steps are correct, noting that the final answer will be correct. How do we deal with when there are errors in the formula table?
On the formula table itself, the formula sheet,
Yes.
we have, I mean, the preparation of the paper goes through very rigid cycles. And by now we would have corrected all errors that could have been possible on the sheet that we provide for students. We have been using this formula sheet for quite a number of exams, and therefore the sheet is inerrant. It is without error. However, if a student quotes a formula, as long as it is not overly simplified, they can get follow-through marks.
Okay, thanks for that. I just want to respond to Carlos Lopez's question, and it's a very important one. He says, if under any circumstances that a student is not able to attend due to emergency, due to health or personal, will we be able to sit the exam later, or will it be disqualified? No, Carlos, and for the rest of the students listening, this is what we refer to as a hardship case. As long as you provide the medical evidence, if it's a health emergency, or there's some police report, or report from your principal that suggests that there was a emergency. Let's say, for example, someone in your family died the night before the exam or the morning of the exam, or you got in an accident, then a report needs to be filed by your principal, by the medical doctor or the police, whoever is involved, and submitted to your principal, and that is submitted to CSEC, and it will be dealt with as a hardship case.
Okay.
We do not allow students to sit the exams at a later date. Yeah, Pompey, go ahead.
Okay, so we have a question from where is that person again? I think they dropped their hand. Okay, this question is from Khalifa Powell. Khalifa, your life? Khalifa? Khalifa, good morning. Okay, they may be having some challenges. And go ahead, Cleveland.
Okay. Let's see what other questions we have here.
Okay, we have a question from Adrian Webb. Adrian, you're live. Good morning, Adrian. Adrian, good morning. Okay.
All right, the question, there's another question, if today's session will be put on the internet. Yes, it will be placed on our YouTube site, and the link will be also posted on our Facebook site once the webinar is placed on our YouTube page. So for the students who missed it, they will be able to play it back at their own leisure. All right, colleagues, students, and the teachers, you can keep your questions coming.
Okay, we have a question from Ahiralal Desa Cesar. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, you're live.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead, you can ask a question.
Good morning.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yeah, seeing that there would be SBAs for master exams 2017, what form of structure would the SBAs take?
Oh, this person asked this question earlier, but was not able to listen to the response. So I think they asked for the question to be answered again. Marcus?
Good. Now, you see, the proposed SBA has to do with students, whether as individuals or in small groups, doing a small-scale research that uses mathematics to answer questions of interest to the individuals or to the community. And mathematics, it is not limited to the statistical aspects. One could use geometry, one could use consumer arithmetic. As long as the question needs mathematics to present a solution, that is the nature of the school-based assessment. And we are saying that there are examples that would be made available to the teacher. That's one of the reasons I suggested that you send me a request, I can give you some ideas.
Okay, so there's one here, Marcus. I don't know if you can see it. Mary invested $200 for 3 years at 5% per annum.
Yeah.
John invested $300 at the same rate. They both received the same amount of the money in simple interest. For how many years did John invest his money?
Good. Very good question. You know the simple interest.
Answering your question now. I hope you are listening.
You know the simple interest formula, which say you multiply the principal by the time, by the rate, percent. Yes? And you simply put both of them, let's run it again. You simply put both results equal. So the first one, 200 times 3 times 5 over 100 is the same as 300 times 3 times y, for example, or time, if you may, over 100. And the only thing you don't know there is the time. So you cancel what could cancel and make time the subject of the formula. You end up getting 5 divided by, well, you have 5 divided by 3.
Marcus?
Yes, please.
Are you able to use the whiteboard on your device?
As I can see. Now, share, I check share, and then whiteboard,
Yeah.
And then the whiteboard is there. And when I click there, I have to pull one of these. Why am I not able to type on this whiteboard?
You need to select the pen tool.
Say it again.
Select the pen tool.
Yes, it's selected.
Okay.
So why should I write with it when I should be able to type?
Well, if you want to type, you select the text tool.
Yeah, the A.
Let's go back to that.
The one that says A.
The one that says what? Go ahead.
With the large A and the small A.
Thank you. It's there now. I think I have. Let me see if I can type anything there. Good. I'm doing good business now. I'm doing good business. I'm there now. All right. Now, so all that the student has to do is to have 300 times 3 times 3. Yeah?
Is it showing up?
If it's showing on my screen, it's showing on my whiteboard. What should I tell them? To share the screen. It's on my whiteboard.
Yeah, it's on the whiteboard.
Uh-huh.
Cleveland, are you able to see what he's typing?
No. I'm not able to see what he's typing.
Okay.
Students see what Mr.
No, someone said that they're not able to see. So what I'm going to ask you to do, Marcus, because I clicked something. Okay, well.
I'm seeing it now.
You see it now.
There you go. Keep going.
All right. So I have 300 times 3 times the time. Let's call it, oh, dear me. Yeah, let's call it T times the time. Yeah. And I'm dividing this by 100. Okay. I'm dividing that by 100. And I'm saying that is the same as or is equal to 200 multiplied by the time and multiplied by, I'm there again, multiplied by, the time is 3, multiplied by 5, divided by the same 100. Evidently, the 100's cancelled, 3's cancelled, 100 into both, well, you see 300 and 200, the zeros drop. So you get the time there is going to be 2 fraction 3. Where am I? Not 2 fractions or the 5? Nothing happens to the 5. The time there is 5 fraction 5 2's. Let's see what cancels. The hundreds cancel. The 3's cancel. Okay, the zeros cancel for the 200 and the 300. So 3t is equal to 5. So t is 5 divided by 3. T is 5 divided by 3.
Marcus, we have lost your typing.
Oh, sorry.
Only thing we're seeing is the 3 multiplied by 3 by multiply.
So you make t the subject of the formula. So t is simply 5 divided by 3. And that is years.
Can anyone see? Yeah.
It's not there?
I kind of saying that there's a delay, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, only thing I'm seeing there is the 300 multiplied by 3.
Yeah, it's the same thing I'm seeing as well, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you share in order for us to see the initial thing, Marcus? Oh, okay, it's there.
There now?
Yeah.
Okay, I hope it is.
It is, yeah. So t equals 5 over 3.
Yeah, that's that. Just use the simple interest formula twice and put them equal. That's all.
All right. Any other questions coming through, guys? Whether you want to ask it, you can put your hand up. or you can type it in the chat. Hello?
Hello? All right, we have a question from Elizabeth Ford. Elizabeth, you're live.
Yes, I am. I just had a quick question just to find out in terms of the timing for paper 2, any suggestion as to the time allocation per item so that the students can be so guided?
Very good. The student has 2 3/4 hours to complete paper 2 of the exam. They have to answer 10 questions. The final 2 questions are optional and carry more marks than the others. Now, 15 minutes, you have 10 questions here. 10 questions, and you have 2 hours and 45 minutes. That is 165 minutes. So 15 minutes on average per question, that gets you through safely. I would suggest that students operate at their strength. Whatever they're comfortable with, they do first. They do correctly and they do quickly. Leave more challenging questions for later in the exam. There is instruction on the paper that if you change your answer, draw a line through the one you're discarding. Leave that on the paper. I suggest that students don't do that. If you're not sure that your next answer is the correct thing, leave both of them. But that's not for the multiple choice. You can only choose one option on the multiple choice.
Okay, can I ask everyone who has raised their hand and whose questions have been answered, can I ask you to drop your hand and by clicking the hand icon. Okay, so persons like Kyle Fithill and Aldisha, whose questions we have already answered, can you drop your hands, please? Okay, we'll take a question from Ian Johnson. Ian, you're live. Good morning. Ian, good morning. Good morning, Ian. Okay, we will answer another question from Nabina Dira. Nabina, you're live. Good morning, Nabina. Okay, they are probably experiencing issues.
Technical difficulties?
Maybe.
How's that young man doing? Collins, are you there?
Someone is asking, when is the amended syllabus be available? That syllabus should start teaching in 2016.
2016. But September is it's September 2016, and it should begin
Teaching.
Yeah, that's right. So
Right.
Yes, it is ready and should be available to teachers and students shortly.
Okay, for the person who asked that question, Donito Wharton, that syllabus is available. You can check the CXC store, www.cxc-store.com for the new mathematics syllabus. Marcus, there's another question. I don't know if you see it. P is the point. open bracket 8, comma 6, and Q is the point, open bracket 10, comma 3. M and N are midpoints of OP and OQ respectively. Where is O in the origin?
And what is the question asking?
This question is from Gabriel, correct? Gabriel, do you want to speak?
Yeah, no, he has the question just below that. It says to determine the vectors PQ and MN.
Very good. All right. So if I write again on this thing here,
Yeah, yes.
I always prefer students to write the coordinates as a column vector. In other words, write the point P as a position vector. You write it. Let me see if I can put this up here. The position vector 8, 6, 8, 6, that's P. That's OP. That's the position vector of the point P. The position vector of the point Q would be 10, 3. The position vector of the point Q would be 10, 3 as a column vector. Would be 10, 3. And if you want the vector that goes from P to Q, it's a nice way to say it's destination.
All right,
origin.
Marcus?
Yes, sir.
Here's what I'm going to suggest. And do you have any software, Microsoft Word on your computer? I think if you, right now, yeah, so open Microsoft Word and share your screen instead of the whiteboard because the whiteboard is not updated in real time for the students.
All right. Now, Word. Okay, I have Microsoft Word. Now, Pompey, hi there. Are you there?
Yeah, Marcus, go ahead.
I'm here.
Now, I needed my technician. My technician is not available to me at this point. Even when I have Microsoft Word available, I can't immediately get this. Let me go back to share, okay? How do I remove the whiteboard?
I can remove that for you.
Okay, would you please remove that whiteboard so that I could use the
all you have to do is go up to share, share application.
Share application, yeah.
And then select your Microsoft Word.
Well, select the more other applications. If not even my other applications, it's showing Word. Oh, yeah, it's there.
Oh, you, okay.
You can see my screen, right?
Not yet.
Microsoft Office. Microsoft.
Or you can simply just click share my screen,
Okay.
which is the first option in the drop-down menu.
Patient.
Okay.
You can see my screen now?
It's coming.
Come in.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
My screen is there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Monkey, you have to come on to see my screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Very good. Yeah, so now, I have these two vectors. The position vector of the point P is OP, and we're going to write, which one am I there now? Let's go back over there. Let's go back to Let's go back to my page. Yeah, the position vector of the point P, OP, is equal to, and in vector form, I'm going to just insert a vector there. I'm just going to insert a vector. I'm going to insert a vector there, that one. And in vector form, I have 8, 6. 8, 6. 8, 6. I do likewise to the point Q and write down the position vector of the point Q. The position vector of the point Q, I write OQ. I write the vector OQ is equal to, and then I write, let me insert another vector there, another vector there, and I'm writing the vector 10, 3, 10, 3, 10, 3. If I want the vector PQ, I simply subtract the two vectors. I teach you one. If I want the vector PQ, the fastest way to proceed with direction vectors is to have destination. I want to go from P to Q. Let's go again. Look at that. I want to get from P to Q. So to get from P to Q, I must travel along roads which are properly marked. So I must go from P to O, meaning I must reverse 8, 6, and get minus 8, minus 6. And then go from O to Q. That's the only way I can get from P to Q along roads which are marked. So the fastest way is to say it is destination minus origin, minus where we began. Okay? Q is the destination. So it is the vector 10, 3, this one here. If I could put this one, if I could just copy that one there and paste it there. It is destination, subtract the point of origin. I start from here, I start to there, and destination, subtract, and then the result in that case is 2 minus 3. Is 2 minus 3. I write 2 there, and minus 3 there, minus 3 there, and that's the vector PQ. That's minus 3 then, not 6. That's minus 3. 2 minus 3. That's the vector PQ. Were they asking another question? They said M and N are the midpoints of OP and OQ. The fastest thing to do again is to write down the vector. Is to write down the vector OM. I teach you that. The vector O that goes from O to M. The vector that goes from O to M. We are told that M is the midpoint of OP. That's what they said, OP. The midpoint of OP is 4, 3. Half of 8, 6. That's 4, 3. N is the midpoint of OQ. N would have coordinates 5 and 1.5. I suppose that they were going to ask some other question, which they haven't asked yet. So I will wait on them to ask the next question, which is probably going to ask about the vector PQ. I'm not sure.
No, the other question, the other part of that same question is to determine the vectors and as well. So it was PQ and N.
Very good. So if we want to get the vector MN, I first write down the coordinates of M, which is 4, 3. So the vector OM. Let me write them again. If I copy this, where's my copy? If I copy that, if I paste it, I just change this letter. The vector OM is 4, 3, half of that. It's 4. Nonsense. It's 4, 3. There's not. I can't get it. Don't do it. 4, 3. Now, the vector ON, the vector ON, the vector ON, so again, ON, the vector ON is 5, is 5, 1.5. 5, 1.5. That's 5 and 1.5. Then, after vector ON. If I want the vector MN, again, do destination. If I want the vector, sorry. If I want the vector MN, I just do destination, which is this destination, this one first. Copy this one. Okay, paste it. Subtract this one now. This one. Copy that one. Paste it there. Okay, so the vector Mn, is equal to, that's what the vector Mn is equal to, and you take the difference between them. Vector Mn is equal to 1 It's 1 and minus 1.5. It's 1 and minus 1.5. That's what you do. You get marks for knowing the correct root, and you get marks for doing the correct computation. There it lies. That's Mn. And probably they'll ask, what is the geometric relationship between PQ and Mn?
That's correct.
PQ is twice Mn, and if one vector could be written as a scalar multiple of the other, then you see the lines are parallel. So PQ is parallel to Mn.
All right, awesome stuff, Marcus.
Yeah, and here's something now. Usually, they will ask you things like to prove 3 points are collinear, lie on a straight line. You have to do the same thing, but only that you're going to have 2 vectors from the 3 points. If you could show that one vector is a scalar multiple of the other, then you have established, or you need to state, that the 2 lines are parallel. But you and I know from a long time ago that parallel lines don't usually meet.
Yeah.
If it so happens that parallel lines meet, it means they run into one another. And then all the points from a straight line. Do you see? That's how it goes. That's how you prove that 3 points lie on a straight line. You set up 2 vectors. You set up 2 vectors. Suppose I had PQ and R. You set up PQ. Then you set up PR. If you can show that one is a scalar multiple of the other, it doesn't have to be a whole number multiple, it could be a fractional multiple. Only that if it's negative, they run in opposite directions. But once it is a real number multiple of the other, so the 2 lines are parallel. If 2 lines are formed from 3 points, it means that one of the points must be in common. If 2 vectors have a common point and they are parallel, then all 3 points form a straight line. That is where students fall down very regularly. But
okay. Well, I hope the students who have asked that question, as well as those who are interested in vectors, followed your working very clearly. There's another question which I forwarded to you, Marcus. I don't know if you have seen it. It says, a man started a journey at 9:30 hours and arrived at his destination in the same time zone at 13:30 hours. This question is using the 24-hour clock. Huh?
Yes, sir.
If his average speed was 30 kilometers per hour, then the distance in kilometers for the journey was what?
Very good. Now, the difference in time between 1:30 and you see 13:30 same as 1:30.
Yes, 9:30 and 1:30.
1:30. That looks like 4 hours to me. That used to be 4 hours, can't you? So, and you know every hour is 30 kilometers. That's why it is students. Learning ratio and proportion is critical. I see it all through primary school, secondary school, and tertiary institutions. If students fail to comprehend proportions, they usually struggle in mathematics. So that's where you really have to start. If you could understand proportion, here what is proportion? Say 1 hour is for 30 kilometers. So if I have 4 hours, how many kilometers that is? Solution presents itself.
Okay. 30 multiplied by 4. All right. Right. So Rashid Paul is asking a follow-up question to what you had said. If the person had two workings, they should leave both of them if they're not sure which is right. He wants to know how then is the mark allocated for both answers. Marcus? Hello? Marcus, are you there? Pompey, are you there? Can you, I'm not hearing Marcus.
I'm here.
Yeah. Marcus, are you there? All right, it's just a 12:15. We have probably another 15 minutes to go, depending on Mr. Kane's availability. Mr. Kane, are you there?
We have a couple hands raised. Okay.
Yeah, just trying to find out if Marcus is there because I'm not hearing him and I'm not seeing any activity on his
Yeah, I'm
side.
not seeing any activity either.
I probably just need to reach him on the phone to see.
I'm
Just
calling
give him
him
a
at the
shot
moment.
on the phone to see
I'm sure.
if he got knocked out or something. Ladies and gentlemen, just bear with us a minute. As you know, the technology sometimes, not always, sometimes fails us. And I know some people have bandwidth issues in some of our countries. So just bear with us for a minute while we try to reconnect Mr. Kane. Mm-hmm. Hi students, our facilitator has an issue with his technology on his end. Remember I was saying to you, for those of you who wanted to contact, Mr. Kane has said it, to contact him about some of the issues. As I said, you can send the email to us at cxcezo@cxc.org and we will pass on your information to Mr. Kane and then he would respond to you from that end. We may also need to send him some of these questions in that way because it's already 18 minutes past 12 and we are scheduled to finish at 12:30. And I know there's quite a few questions I'm seeing in the chat. As soon as Mr. Kane comes back on, we will try and see how many of these questions we will get him to answer. Just by way of information as well, we are planning a webinar on CSEC Caribbean history. We will announce the date for that pretty soon. It's expected to be in early May. And also for persons who are looking for syllabuses and past papers and school reports for various subjects, not just mathematics, that those can be obtained from the CXC store, www.cxc-store.com. I'm going to type that here for you again, cxc-store.com. That's the address for the CXC store. And I would also like to advise you of another resource that CXC is affiliated with called notesmaster.com. I encourage the students to go to notesmaster.com to find notes that are there that have been posted by teachers from around the Caribbean. And you can create your own folder on the Notesmaster's website to save your notes so that when you're ready to study and revise, those notes are there for you. You do not have to go back to the entire Notesmaster website. And you can also do that if you are doing CAPE as well, for all the subjects at CAPE and at CSEC. And for the teachers who are with us today, that facility, we really need you to be involved to post the notes to become members of the Virtual Subjects Association and to post your notes there on the subjects in which you have expertise. It's very simple. There is no fee. You simply register with your email and get started with notesmaster.com. Right, John, it's only audio. There is no video to this webinar. It's only audio. The exams are marked, Kevin, the exams are marked in different countries. CXC has gone into electronic marking now with the mathematics. So the persons marking those exams are in their particular countries and they're marking them via the computer. Angela, your question is a very technical one that I cannot help you with, but I'm sure Mr. Kane will be able to help you with that question once he comes on board, once he returns to the webinar. And your question is about vector, how prudent it is to use a grid to get students to the point of recognizing the efficiency of an algorithm. As I said, if we do not get Mr. Kane back in the session, you can email your questions to cxcezo@cxc.org and we'll forward them to Mr. Kane for you for a response. We do apologize for the break in the session, and that is, as I said, is as a result of technical challenges being experienced by our facilitator in St. Vincent. Leroy, we do not have a webinar for English this year. We did one for English last year, and you can still find that webinar on our YouTube channel. go to www.youtube and type in my CXC or Caribbean Examinations Council YouTube if you're doing a search, and you should be able to find the CXC YouTube channel. How do you calculate the total cost? Oh. Chelsea, we are waiting on Mr. Kane to come back online. Anybody has any general CXC questions, I might be able to help you, not related to the mathematics exam.
Well,
Any
there's
general
a question
CXC
here. There's a question here, Cleveland, from Shane Paul Hunt. Would you happen to have any idea as to where to find past papers from math? And those past papers can be found on our CXC store website, and that is www.cxc-store.com. You can find past papers for most subjects there.
Yeah, any other general questions for CXC? Angela, this is where you can forward the questions. I just typed in the modern languages orals are next week. Are there any webinars for those? No, we do not have a webinar for each subject, and we do not have webinars for modern language orals, which are next week. But we do wish you good luck in those orals if you are taking them.
All right, and also for persons who are interested in sourcing past papers for mathematics, on our CXC store, you can download a free booklet with the past papers from 2002 to 2008. All right, and that's free. It's actually English A and mathematics past papers 2002 to 2008, free of cost. So there's no reason why single one of you should not download that booklet and use it to study. So I'm gonna put the URL in the chat. Let me see here. Yeah. Okay, so I just posted it in the chat. So you can head on over to the CXC store once this webinar is through and download a free copy of the English A and Mathematics past papers from 2002 to 2008.
Elizabeth asked about the grade bands for grades 1, 2, and 3. CXC does not release its grade boundaries, Elizabeth. What we do, we give you what we call grade descriptors, and those range from excellent for grade 1, I think, to very limited, which is a grade 6. So we do not give any numbers for grade boundaries.
Okay, there's a question here about when will there be e-testing introduced in the future? If so, when? Cleveland?
CXC is planning to introduce e-testing for the multiple choice exams in January 2017. So for those 13 subjects that we offer in January each year, there's going to be e-testing for the 13 subjects. The multiple choice paper, which we call paper 1, will be examined via e-testing. Also in May-June 2017, the multiple choice papers for the CSEC and CAPE will also be done via e-testing, And then from 2018, CXC is hoping to go e-testing with most, if not all, of its other examinations. So there is a phased-in approach starting in 2017 January with the multiple choice papers. Okay? And some of you may also be participating in pre-tests from the 25th to the 29th. Those pre-tests are also going to be done using e-platform. So the pre-test this time, 25th to the 29th April, will be done using the computer as well. Then there will not be paper-based pre-test. If we have any St. Lucians with us on the call today, the Visual Arts exhibition for CSEC Visual Arts takes place in St. Lucia from the 25th to the 29th of April. It's at La Plage Carinage, so you can come on any day, Monday to Friday, the 25th to the 29th, to the CSEC Visual Arts exhibition at La Plage Carinage. I think it's going to be upstairs in 4 of the rooms upstairs. So you can join us there for the CSEC Visual Arts exhibition. Marcus is back? No?
Yes, he's back with us.
Hi, Marcus, you're back. Not really. Marcus, are you hearing me?
His audio is probably connected.
Okay, I think he's trying to speak now. All right, students, teachers, any other questions you may want to have, ask us. You can put up your hand and ask a question. Yes, Mr. Wharton, in the p-testing will be extended to the paper tools in 2018. That is the plan at the moment. And if all plans go if all goes as planned, then we will have e-testing for the paper tools in 2018. As I said, there's a phased approach starting in January 2017. Right, I see Kyle said that he has seen the booklets, very good. Mr. Pompey has put the website for the CXC store in the chat. I had also put it there earlier. So you can go to the CXC store and see the free English and mathematics past papers up to 2008. The syllabuses are also there, the school reports are also there. The only thing you pay for are the past papers after 2009, well, 2009 onwards.
Okay, Cleveland?
Yes?
Yeah, so Marcus has apologized for not being able to reconnect. And so he has said that he will respond to the questions when they are forwarded to him.
By email. Okay?
Yeah, by email.
So let me wrap up then.
Sure.
All right, so you have heard the situation. Our facilitator has some serious issues with the technology at his end. However, he's committed to responding to your questions once you send the email to us, and we'll forward the emails to him. So again, let me give you the email address. It's cxcezo@cxc.org. You can send your questions there. We will forward them to Mr. Kane, and he will respond to you in due course. I want to apologize for the... Yes, Pumpy?
No, I was just saying that I put it in the chat so everyone should be able to see it. The email address,
Right.
that is.
Please, Roberto, we thank you very much for your feedback, that this has been very helpful. And we wish you and the other students in Belize and the rest of the region all the best. So on behalf of Marcus Kane and Ayodele Pompey, our host and technical support today, I want to thank everyone. The maximum participation we had at any one point was 157 persons. That's quite commendable, and I hope you'll be able to pass on this information to your classmates, your teachers, etc. As we said, the webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel, and the link will then be put on our Facebook page so that you can go back and see what Mr. Kane was saying or listen to what he had said. And we wish you all the best in the examinations for 2016. Our next webinar is likely to be in early May, and that will be with Caribbean history. And for those of you taking Caribbean history, we hope you will join us then. My name is Cleveland Sam. Have a good Saturday afternoon. Bye-bye.